Welcome to Edgar Allan Poe Cottage, where the great American poet lived the last 3 years of his life. Not only does the house commemorate Edgar Allan Poe, it's the last remaining structure of the village of Fordham. So it has a lot of historic significance, especially in this area of the Bronx. And what you see behind me is the restoration project. It's the first comprehensive restoration since 1913. The house was constructed in 1812. It was built by John Valentine, and when Edgar Allan Poe arrived in the Bronx, this was considered the countryside. This was one giant farm, and this is why Edgar Allan Poe moved here. His young wife was dying of tuberculosis, and at the time, the doctor would send you to get as much fresh air as you can. So that's just to show you this part of the Bronx was the fresh air. And as soon as you walk in, you're going back in time. First of all, you're gonna see a very modest kitchen. A lot of period pieces represents how people of the working class lived in the Bronx in the 1840s. You're gonna see the parlor room where Edgar Allan Poe's rocking chair is still in existence. He also has his mirror hung up as well. And Virginia's room is where the actual bed frame she passed away in 1847 is actually located as well. Now, this is not the original location of the cottage. The cottage was located across the street. As years progressed after Edgar Allan Poe died, a lot of people saw a lot of significance, and they banded together to get the house saved. The park was created in 1902 to have a home for the cottage itself, and they named it Poe Park. The cottage was moved over in 1913 in order to preserve it, to save it from destruction when development was going on Kingsbridge Road. And in 1917, it was officially open as a museum. So then later on, the band shell came, which is on the south side of the park. And this is where a lot of people throughout the years, since the 1930s and the 40s, a lot of outdoor concerts. So what you see in here is the Poe Park campus.
This is a very exciting time in Poe Park. We're renovating the historic cottage, and we've also just completed a visitors center. The Visitor Center is designed by the New York-based architect Toshiko Mori. She took her inspiration from a poem of Edgar Allan Poe's, The Raven.
And in terms of Edgar Allan Poe's uncanny aspect, we want to have a slightly little bit different feeling, but also very durable, and also it has a tactility, which is very important to have in a community instead of cinder blocks or just regular bricks.
As you can see, the building has a great sailing roof, and then the cladding of the building is most unusual and beautiful. Slate shingles look something like feathers.
This was an exciting project for me. I read lots of Edgar Allan Poe, and I want to make this center not just a very horror story center, but in fact it's an inspiring place for the community that has two different opposite sides in which it can come together. In the summertime, there's a lot of concerts going on, so they have a very lively, active, contemporary life of a community, which is also facing a quiet, historical, contemplative nature of a site. So the Visitor Center bridges two aspects of a community.
The project was oriented so that there is a large picture window from the main space, which frames the view of the cottage.
An entry is designed that you can slip through either side of it. So you are in a confluence of two different aspects of public life and history of New York City. Also, very importantly, the other end houses public bathrooms. And if you go inside, there's a mosaic with pixelated portrait of Edgar Allan Poe in it. At first glance, you may not know it if you are not told, but once you're washing your hands, looking around, and all of a sudden, image of Poe appears. So it's kind of a bit of a mystery and fun and magic about that.
It's primarily an educational facility and very exciting for people in the Bronx and visitors from all over, of course.
Having the new Poe Park Visitors Center here, with the restoration happening at the same time, it's bringing us to the next generation.
I'm Toshiko Mori, and Poe Park is my park.